exploring data automation and aspiring for leadership in AI innovation at Nasdaq.
I had a project early on for something we were doing called Analytics Hub, where we were looking at data and trying to figure out if it was going to be of any value. And so I spun up a project. One way to figure out if data is of value to an investor is to figure out if you can build a strategy on it, right? Can I build a strategy that makes money? That's kind of what we would do. And so I said, well, if we could automate this, we could just onboard lots and lots and lots of data and very quickly see if it's any good. So I worked on a system to automate that. And the focus really was, how can we use this to scale a business, right? And so now we're talking about the business problem. So I think those two skills really helped. And then the last one is, I mentioned that automation part. When the group started out, it was really kind of focused on the analytics, right? The statistical consulting portion of data science, though a little more with a product flair. And what we kind of realized over time is this notion of scale, this notion of novel insight, this notion of automated or machine-powered data streams really was very attractive, and I just kind of been doing that work. So it seemed like a very natural fit for the management position. But I think more so than that was, being able to understand the business problems, communicate technically, communicate non-technically as well, that were most helpful in kind of rising up through the ranks.
Got you, man. And just to kind of piggyback on that was, you got an award 2020, IDG CIO 2020 Wants to Watch Award. So just talk about how that felt, man, getting that award and what it means to you.
It was very flattering. It was actually a little awkward because I don't do well with winning awards. I always get people congratulate me. All right, so we're going to peel back the onion on this one a little bit. The reality behind all these awards, whether it's Forbes 30 under 30 or this one, is the marketing department at your company paid them some money to get you on the list, right? That's the reality. Every single person who's on the Forbes 30 under 30 list paid Forbes some money to be considered for that list, or to be on that list. Anyway, onion peel back. But really, I mean, it was quite an honor, because it also means that the company's happy with you and they want to put you forward as a face and leader in the industry. So that was very flattering. And I think really what I'm most surprised about in finance is how new and novel machine learning is, right? I thought, because my thinking is, if there's any place on the planet where this is old hat, it would be in finance, because there are quantitative trading firms that have been doing machine learning and neural information processing since 2002 or 2001. I think we can find papers about reinforcement learning for trade strategy generation from the late 90s and early aughts. So you'd think it'd be old hat, but it turns out that's just this really tiny portion of the world. And those people don't spend a lot of time talking about what they do to normal folks. So instead, it's this kind of really new, novel thing. And I think it was a recognition on Nasdaq's behalf that they want to move, that data science, AI, machine learning are important to their strategy. It was definitely very flattering for me to receive. And I think it was almost as much a statement by the company about, we take this seriously, as it was flattering for myself. And like I said, I don't do well with winning these sorts of things or talking about them. But yeah, it was good. It was cool.
From a career perspective, where do you see yourself, in the next 5 years?
Oh man, I'm really hoping on a beach somewhere drinking. More like, actually, probably not, because I burn in like 2 seconds. I'm pretty happy at Nasdaq. I'm hoping that we can keep making it work there. Like I said, I currently kind of am responsible for our AI research department. If I were to think about my career at Nasdaq, I think the next natural point is, in 5 years, to begin looking at owning the entire AI life cycle, from research, from data onboarding to research, through initial development and model serving and deployment. So that's a few teams. And yeah, I've been not terribly shy mentioning that as far as I can tell right now, I think I'd like to be a corporate executive, but that could change, right? And really it could, because the one other thing I've learned, and in my career is it's not obvious that anybody would want to be a corporate executive. I feel pretty maximally busy right now. My life is full of lots and lots of uncertainty. I remember I was going to Chicago on a business trip last year, and I thought it was a 4-day business trip. So I packed 4 days worth of clothes. And on day 2 in Chicago, I got told, Doug, you need to go to Lisbon. And that sounds cool, right? Like that sounds kind of cool and sexy until you realize you're living in a hotel for 10 days with 4 days worth of clothes. And yeah, and you're, and business trips aren't fun, right? I got to see Lisbon through a 4x3 window in the conference room that I was in for 16 hours a day, drinking a lot of really bad coffee. Yeah, and by the time you're done with the day, all you want to do is go back to the hotel and go to sleep. Or best case scenario, you go to the hotel bar and have a few really overpriced priced beers before going to sleep while you're doing some work. So it's not obvious that anybody would want to do this, would want this sort of career, but I do also secretly kind of like it.
Man, that's good, Doug. Guys on the call, any other questions, again, about the lab that he runs or just what they do? Any other questions along those lines before I move on to the closing segment?
Hey, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Way early back, you mentioned advice that you give to students trying to get into the industry or whatnot. You mentioned GitHub.
Yeah.
And that advice is usually given a lot, but I want to go like one step further with that and ask a question. So given that advice, I assume that that was something that you did.
No, that's not something I did.
Okay.
No. So Aaron, the world today is a little different than it was back then. And the world of data science has changed very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you in 2015, there just weren't nobody had the title. Lots of people didn't even know what the role did.
Mm-hmm.
There was no such thing as a master's in data science program.
Mm-hmm.
Or to the extent that there was, it was literally, they were bad. They were really, really bad. People were pretty sure that visualization was going to save the day. It didn't.